as our country tears at the seam with inflation rising and reaching the epochal level of 23.18%, with the increasing level of food prices in the markets of our country, with villages, towns sacked by bandits and terrorists, and of course with hamlets that have now been perpetually kept under siege by criminals, rogue elements, herders, kidnappers, harvesters of human organs, and with our country again tottering at the precipice of utter collapse, with our naira extremely devalued and poor citizens of our country struggling to reach to life, to their very poor lives. Our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is luxuriating in the spring sunshine of Paris. It is worrying that at this crisis point, when responsible leaders of nations step back at the quarters of governance to provide solutions that can lift their citizens from utter penury, miseries, hunger, privations that they find themselves. Our president is elsewhere, enjoying the sunshine at the winter of his life, I must say, in a foreign land, in a foreign country. This, of course, raises the fundamental question about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to salvaging our country. When he came into power on the 29th of May 2003, just over a year and 6 or 7 months ago, he promised our people, particularly the poor of our country, what he called the renewed hope. What he termed renewed hope has become hopelessness, utter destruction of the lives of our people. Across the length and breadth of our country today, you have families that cannot feed. You have families that cannot send their wards, their children, to school. You have young men and women whose future is being destroyed today by the pernicious policies of this government. In the midst of all of these, again, we have a president who has not shown empathy, who has not shown love, who hasn't shown compassion for the citizens, more particularly the poor of our country. Going through the statement issued by the principal aide, media aide of the president, a few days ago, I should say, intimating Nigerians of the decision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to travel to Paris on a working visit, raises serious questions about Mr. President's commitment to our country. Beyond the security implication of turning the metropolitan capital of Paris into the seat of power abroad, there are concerns about the future of our people, a future that the president had consistently promised Nigerians will be of renewed hope. Reading again the statement, I'm reminded by two characters in the novella of that great writer, George Orwell, who in his book, or his novella, Animal Farm, created first the character Mollie that you see in chapter 1 of the book, who entered the scene of the meeting concerned about its ribbons and the beauty of his presence. And I'm also reminded of another character, Moses, in Animal Farm, who in the midst of hard work, who in the midst of work, who in the midst of strenuous attempt by the slavish characters, in the novella, to give some comfort to their lives, used to disappear into what Moses describes as Sugarcandy Mountain. President Tinubu reminds me of Mollie and the character Moses. At a certain level, like Mollie, he's concerned about the luxuries of his life, luxuries that he has refused to give up. That's why, at every pretense, his aides put out statement of Mr. President virtually abandoning our country to go luxuriate in the winters and in the sunshine of metropolitan Paris, while the mass of our people endure the pain, the penury, the suffering that his policies inflict on our people. Like I said, he also reminds me of Boxer, who, after luxuriating in that fictional mountain called Sugarcandy Mountain, would return back to the animal farm to tell stories of the beauty of life in a mountain that does not really exist in real term. Casting President Tinubu in the mold of the two characters, it's expected that at a similar level, like Moses, Tinubu will return from his working visit to Paris and tell us glib stories of a life of hope that will be renewed by his pernicious economic policies. And like Mollie, he has not shown the intention or the willingness to give up his life of luxury. At a time like this, that nations face dire economic stretch, crisis capable of destroying the very fabric of the nation, presidents rise up above the lure of the luxuries of life that they enjoy and begin to live like the mass of the people who suffer terribly from their economic policies. President Tinubu has not shown us that he's one.